I mean, ZvZ is one
She has
that can
0
always
APM.
go.
Oh no, never mind. She's good.
ZvZ is really one which is always going to be a little bit volatile, and especially, God, when you introduce some server lag, a lot of things can happen. I mean, you talked about off-race and Proto. She did that against PandaBearMe in the Challenger Series last year in 2017. And she went to 5 games, but she did win it out in the end, I believe. And, well, now she is going to play the ZvZ. Cross server. Let's see how it goes. The top left-hand side, our red zone player from Team Expert is Scarlett.
And to our opponent down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the yellow Zerg player. Give it up for PandaBearMe.
That's a new team, by the way. Team Meliora.
Meliora.
They're having a lot of success. I mean, they picked
That's
up, like...
what happens when you have an all-Zerg team.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny because it's true. But no, they picked up Jim Ryzen. He goes and like beats Gumiho and gets out of his OSC championship group, which is kind of crazy. And then well, just in general, I mean, sort of qualified for Code S. PandaBearMe is in the winners match right here today. Having a pretty good time.
Yeah. It's definitely really cool. I really enjoy seeing when PandaBearMe is doing a bit better. Just because, again, he is not always the most consistent player, but he is a really hard-working player. He's one of the players I think has been the most dedicated in terms of just being all about that StarCraft life and that StarCraft practice for a very long period of time. Not even just like short stints by any means. But again, this is, even with the latency, probably going to be a bit of a difficult matchup for him. The two big advantages I would say going in his favor is, one, the latency we're talking about, and two, NAZVZ is just hyper weird. I have seen players, especially like Scarlett, lose a lot of games to people that you just would think are really not supposed to be taking games off of her. Just because it's like North American ZvZ just doesn't seem to make sense sometimes, but that's why it makes sense.
Just doesn't add up, Ravi. 1 plus
it
1
doesn't add up, and
1 plus 1
because it
doesn't
doesn't
equal
add
2
up,
in this situation.
Because it doesn't add up, that's exactly why it is a perfectly
Oh, you know why it doesn't add?
Because it's a sub break.
Ah! Oh, you got it. I was going for your own joke, and you nailed it. Good job. I'm so proud of you.
You can't beat me to my own dumb pun that doesn't make sense.
You guys have had to be here for a long-ass time to get that one.
Oh. Alright, well, PandaBearMe getting some okay damage on. Ooh, he's gonna end up losing out all of his Zerglings. Really nice control from Scarlett. Managed to get the better end of that by a good bit. Doesn't seem like a big deal when you 4 lings versus 4 lings. It's like a little bit of the moral victory in terms of winning the micro war, but yeah, even just you imagine like it's a little bit longer until the next set of lings pop out. The hatchery loses maybe another like 500 hit points in that time. It just ends up making things feel weird and bad.
Well, it's also just the straight up fact that, I mean, 4 Zerglings is still 4 Zerglings. Like, if you make 10 more Zerglings, well, 4 Zerglings extra is kind of like a, you know, is almost like a 50% boost to your army, you know? So obviously, like, the more Zerglings you make, the less that matters, but if you only make like a small number of lings and then go across the map or so, it has a much bigger effect, and obviously then it kind of comes into its benefits. Very interesting open by PandaBearMe, going into the Carapace nice and early. He's going to play kind of a little bit ling heavier, but the Carapace generally does suggest that he will eventually end up going in towards Roaches. I mean, he could start melee behind it and still play a Ling Bane for a little bit longer here, but generally I would say going into Roaches behind it, maybe some sort of a Roach Ling timing can happen a lot of the time.
Okay, well, Lair starting on up for PandaBearMe. Gonna be, as you said, delaying those Roaches compared to Scarlett. See how he's able to defend over here. If he is going to just see... Oh, okay, well those are some really nice Baneling connections, and definitely evening up that army supply a good bit. But he's going for the Carapace upgrade. Like, I always associate that with going all in. Just because it's an upgrade that doesn't scale well in the late game, and it does moderately okay in the early game. He just kind of has to get some damage done now, and this is some good damage.
Ling is going to full surround, and they are going to get the kill on the third hatchery. So PandaBearMe taking advantage what was a nice little couple of banelings to really tilt kind of army supplies into his favor. And you might look at supplies right now and be like, well, PandaBearMe is in a little bit of trouble here, but actually, because Scarlett is making those roaches will just inflate the supply a little bit further. Well, Scarlett's still ahead on workers as well, and that can't be denied, but maybe not for long with this run by in the main.
Yeah, and Lings are starting to come back over here, but PandaBearMe did a great job actually trying to funnel Scarlett through her own choke points over there. Gets a couple of drone kills in the process while he throws down his Spire. He's going into that kind of weird style of ZvZ with the Muta-based play that we saw earlier on today in the European qualifier, and something that I know players like True are a huge fan of.
Yeah, True loves this kind of Muta-ling, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now from PandaBearMe. Scarlett's gonna have to make sure she can play well against this. It's always tough to play against mutas because you have to be very patient initially and obviously set up well, try and scout it and come in and stuff, and it means that you have to be a little bit careful just in general to get on through. As you can see, those Lings will not get the cancel on the third hatch once again. Scarlett actually very nicely walls off here if Ling is in a queen to push the new Lings of PandaBearMe away as well. So nicely done. She now has +1 missile attack, and obviously from there goes straight into +2. One thing she will be missing will be the Hydra Den at the moment, though, is just still building up into roaches for now.
Yeah, indeed. Finding a couple of these, or even 1 or 2 roaches out of position and getting the free pickoffs is actually a really big deal for PandaBearMe, because he wants to make sure that that roach count doesn't spiral out of control. Getting these small pickoffs delays Scarlett from moving across the map, which is basically the name of the game for PandaBearMe right now. He's trying to buy time until the mutas come out. Once the mutas come out, he needs to buy enough time for them to get out in high enough numbers that Scarlett doesn't feel comfortable moving out. And then it's all about just kind of playing ring around the rosy and finding bits and pieces of damage you can get done.
So obviously it gets pushed away from the main. Still some more Zerglings out towards the other left-hand side. More Lings over to the far left too. I mean, this is what PandaBearMe has to do though. Look for run-bys, look for ways to keep Scarlett at home, because, you know, obviously the mutas will do that to a greater extent, but the more he does it, the better it's going to be. Oh my god, Scarlett has so many overlords out on the map.
She had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, she had
for some reason.
No idea.
I generally when you see that many Lings, that is something I think you should be considering as a possibility. But I guess at the same time, it's possible that there was also just roaches being made behind this, just kept at home and kind of out of sight of her vision. So, this is gonna get a little bit dicey. She doesn't even have spore crawlers done, but these mutas can actually hop on top of that spore crawler and take it out.
Gonna go down. It's maybe gonna cost some Mutalist, but realistically, PandaBearMe doesn't worry about one muta if suddenly he gets free reign over the third. This is what Scarlett needs to do though. Start pushing across the map. Oh wow, that's kind of huge as well. Workers going down. Just gonna say though, I mean, obviously the mutas start attacking these roaches early. Oh wow, so that's just gonna be GG. She doesn't even attempt it. I kind of thought like, because it's kind of Muta Ling and not Muta Roach.
Or what was it? I am Shanghai? No, it was Yangchen. Yeah. So he's gonna be one of the players playing at the pre-game for the Olympics.
It's gonna be a really cool opportunity for him. Scarlett gonna be there as well, of course. And I guess it's actually very possible we see like a Scarlett PandaBearMe matchup early on, because with the way the NA region got redesigned for that event, they will play each other in the first round, kind of a pre-round to the tournament in Pyeongchang. So, anyways, let's see how this game number 2 goes. At the top right-hand side, our red Zerg is Scarlett from Team Expert.
And in the bottom left, we have the yellow Zerg player sitting up 1-0 in this best of 3. It's PandaBearMe.
Alright, then game number 2 getting set to go. And it is a hatchery first to start us off. So we're not going to see that cheesy sort of playstyle from either of them just yet. Both of them kind of happy to go in towards the, for now, longer game potentially.
Yeah, the Spire caught Scarlett very off guard, and she basically lost the game just because she didn't see the Spire. But I still think that PandaBearMe was in not exactly a super advantageous position, but he was in a pretty good spot, even if the Spire had been scouted and Scarlett already had the spore crawlers done, all that good stuff. Like, it was still a bit of a dicey spot for Scarlett.
Yeah, I mean, mutas put you into that position where you're not going to die right away or something, right? Because you're always going to be able to hold the initial roach attack or slow it down. So I think it was always going to be kind of, you know, even if Scarlett has kind of spore crawlers, etc., Maybe the Mews don't get as much done, maybe they don't get as many Overlord kills, but obviously PandaBearMe is in a position he can play out his game still, and obviously he's going to be in the composition he wants. He has the Mutas out, he has the Lings being upgraded, so he can definitely play in kind of, again, a position he'll be comfortable in, or should be comfortable in. As we have, well, obviously as it came down though, Scarlett didn't see the Spire, and it was as simple as that in the end. And we are going to be seeing the Lings be coming up from both players at the moment.
Yep, no surprises there, as a ZvZ with no Link speed is no ZvZ at all. But the kind of question is, does one of these players decide to get a little bit more aggressive on Ling Baneling aggression? Because we didn't really see a whole lot of that in the last game. PandaBearMe was getting aggressive with his Lings, but never really going into the Banelings, never really... Oh, I guess actually, we did end up seeing the Banelings. I take it back. I'm like totally misremembering that last game. We watched a lot of StarCraft today.
We watched a lot of StarCraft today. It's all starting to merge into one. As we do see those feelings just a little bit back and forth here to have a bit of a peek to see what's going on, and not too much really. As we do see just Link speed on the way up, finishing soon. But look at the speed of the Carapace once again from PandaBearMe. We're going to try and take a quick win in this one again by the... just in the form of Carapace, and we'll see if Scarlett will make it up to Roaches this time, or what she's going to do about it.
Yeah, this is again like that really weird thing where like you said, I associate it with trying to take a quick win or trying to go for a really early attack, because again, the Carapace upgrades don't scale as well, even with this kind of very Ling Muta-based style. The melee upgrades end up being very helpful versus Roaches, just because it kind of negates a bit of that armor advantage that they normally would have. But I don't know. He seems to be playing this in a style where he's okay with taking to the later game, and the Lings are, I guess they're there to buy time, so it's more about them surviving than it is about just purely getting damage. So I guess this kind of works.
A couple of Banes are on the way. Tron immediately coming down from Scarlett at the moment, so she is just gonna sit back and play the defender's game. Much later third hatch for PandaBearMe because of the way that he's opening up here so far.
Yeah. For those who don't know by the dynamic, by the way, the Banelings for Scarlett will no longer one-shot PandaBearMe's Zerglings once he finishes up that armor upgrade. That's part of the reason why it's considered, like, it used to be one of the big things for why you would get up the Carapace upgrade in early ZvZ. As you can see, he's kind of dancing with the Banelings from Scarlett, but it also is helpful in Ling versus Roaches and allows the Lings to survive few or more hits from the Roaches otherwise. But oh god, losing all the Lings pretty one-sidedly in the main. Over the third though, he's almost gotten the hatchery.
Yeah, PandaBearMe's done a really good job of like splitting his Zerglings up and used them in a way which allowed him to... Oh wow, this is really good. Like, he gets five Banes or so here. This is really nice. Going to go into a Queen now, realizing that obviously again the hatch is not going to happen. And the Queen's not going to happen either, but it was a better chance. But yeah, I really loved the way PandaBearMe moved the Lings around, split them up a bit, and created opportunities to dive in the main, then be on the third base at the same time. However, Scarlett just made a bunch of Roaches, and now she's making a bunch of Lings. And I'm not sure, even Banes as well, I'm not sure if the plus on Carapace is going to save PandaBearMe from this push across the map, which is currently 50 army supply to 20.
Yeah, things are definitely not looking very good right now for PandaBearMe. In fact, he is even just throwing down the Desperation Roach Torrent, as well as the Spine Crawlers, and trying to get up as many Banelings as possible, but it all may just be coming out a little bit late, although the Banelings all going off on each other. The problem is there's nothing else to follow it up.
Nothing at all apart from the Queens. The drops don't last very long at all, and Scarlett will just find a weakness here in PandaBearMe's build, and we'll take advantage. Like 8.5 hours time. I'm going to be casting OSC Championship Group C, and then I'm going to be staying live to cast the WCS EU Challenger Playoff Bracket, and the WCS NA Challenger Playoff Bracket as well. Live all day tomorrow, guys. It's going to be like a 15+ hour stream. Going to be insane.
That's going to be great. I'm not going to be there to join you tomorrow.
Well, you know what, Fear Dragon? It's just not
I don't
good
have
enough.
the passion.
It's just not good enough. It really isn't.
You know, I'm not actually going to be home, but I might just bring my laptop with me as I go visit my family, and I'll be like, "Hey, invite for the game." They can be like, "Oh, you're casting?" I'm like, "Invite for the game." I'm just gonna watch the game, not cast them, just sit in them and observe. It's gonna be great.
You can just join the Skype call and just add in like random compliments or hate on some points. Or just information about NA
I
players.
would never hate on anyone, okay? Sir. These are all my
You can
family.
just add in random NA player informations. Like, you know, you just sat there and all of a sudden you're like, did you know that Semper has officially won 17 of his last 34 matches? Because it just seems
Did you know that Jon Snow wears the exact same shoes as Neve?
Whoa! Is that true?
Yeah, that's actually true. I also,
No.
we all three of us have this exact same pair of shoes.
Whoa! See? You totally need to be. You know what you would be the perfect job for?
If you say the useless facts guy, I swear to God, I'm gonna hang up this call right now.
To the bottom right hand side of Catalyst, our red Zerg player from Team Expert is Scarlett. Would that be a mental useless fact?
Spawning up in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the yellow Zerg player. Give it up for PandaBearMe from Meliora.
Meliora. Well, that sounds very Italian.
Meliora.
Well, it can also sound very menacing. Meliora.
Meliora.
Meliora. No, I can't do it like that one.
Meliora.
Meliora.
What's your best British accent?
My best British accent? Probably the one I'm already doing, because that's pretty.
Fair enough.
But I mean, I guess the posh British accent would be Meliora. No, it doesn't really. It's not really a good word.
Oh no,
to be
not
posh.
on Meliora, just in general. I
Oh,
was curious.
just in general. Well, I mean, I do have more of an accent in terms of my local dialect than I use when I'm casting, because people would not really understand what I was on about. I don't know if I've ever tried to cast StarCraft in it, but I don't think it would go very well if I'm going to be honest.
Fair enough. It's understandable. You're not really being your true self when you cast.
I'm basically as far north in England
You're
as
being fake.
I'm basically as far north in England as you can get without being Scottish, and you know how the Scottish sound, right? So,
Yeah.
you know.
Scarlett actually getting the advantage in these Ling Wars. So PandaBearMe gets some good scouting information, something that honestly Scarlett doesn't have a ton of outside of seeing the third base, which could always be a total fake out third that's just used for larva. But she's having a really hard time cleaning up those Lings. Finally gets to clean up there.
I gotta say, I love that Scarlett's now using PandaBearMe's build against him. like whether she wanted to use this or not, like it just seems so funny because Scarlett's the sort of person in my mind who
Sorry, I was worried because Scarlett threw down a Baneling Nest, then a Queen walked over where the Baneling Nest was supposed to go, canceled the Baneling Nest, and she wasn't rebuilding it. I was like, is this going to be a game where she loses because she didn't realize she missed the Baneling Nest? Right,
I was just saying, like, Scarlett's totally the sort of person who, in my mind, would be like, oh, you think this build's good? Cool. Well, let me show you how to do it properly, you know? Like, I don't know.
She is. She 150%
totally is, right?
is.
Yeah. Pretty fun. Anyways, we'll see how this goes. It's going to be Ling Bane on Ling Bane for a little while. Plus one carapace going through obviously keeps things fairly even, but neither player going to make that transition into Roaches this time just yet.
Yeah, but PandaBearMe has opted to make a lot more Lings than Scarlett. Despite them both going for the carapace upgrades and everything, Scarlett is trying to rely a little bit more on those Banelings, but PandaBearMe has had some pretty good control versus the Banelings, it seems like. And Scarlett, I don't know if it's latency or what, she seems to have been struggling a bit more in the Ling Bane Wars. So, third base getting a bit lower.
She had a really good target fire there for the Queens on the Banelings, though, so they did their jobs. And she was able to push it back. I mean, okay, taking some damage, but it's still alive, right? Which is, for now, the important thing. I mean, it's obviously it's still weak and can be hit by, run by even more easily later on as well.
PandaBearMe running into the main, also gonna draw a lot of Scarlett's Lings into the main. It's really important to note that you need more Lings than your opponent runs in with in order to clean them up. So it forces a lot of army supply there, allowing PandaBearMe to move into the third. Not quite gonna be enough though. And Scarlett is able to repel him.
Well, Ling is just skirmishing in the middle of the map, and Scarlett's just taking that slight work of lead. She's already thrown down the Spire, and she's ahead in +1 melee. And Scarlett's just showing just slight advantages here, just showing how she is the slightly kind of mechanically just better, stronger player, I would say so far. When these players play mirrored builds, Scarlett just seems to be coming out with a slight advantage. Now, that doesn't mean it's all over for PandaBearMe. He's definitely got room to work with and, you know, things he can do here. But for later Spire, he's got to be careful because the one thing he doesn't want to have happen here is that he falls behind on Mutas in a Muta versus Muta game. And man, can you imagine we actually see Muta versus Muta? I don't even know when the last time I watched Muta versus Muta was.
I watched StarCraft, so I actually have seen. I think I saw it a few weeks ago. It's basically the same as far as I'm aware. Like, not much has changed.
I'd be kind of fun to see some Muta versus Muta. The thing is, I'm just a little bit worried that this Muta versus Muta is going to be very one-sided to Scarlett, who already has like 600 gas in the bank. We'll have the Mutas out early as well, so she'll be the one to pick up some Overlords already. All of this is just going to slow PandaBearMe down. She's got her third base gases up as well. That's also going to be an advantage she has. It's all just going to be more Mutas for her as we see the Banes and Lings fighting here. And
all the Banes for Scarlett are gone now, though, except for one, which is not going to gets a decent connection. But Scarlett's at least going to get forced back until the Mutas come out. And it does take time for the Mutas to come across the map, so I think PandaBearMe is going to have to buy maybe like 5 to 8 seconds before his Mutas pop out. Then he should be able to push them back. Oh, actually, wait. He's not going to make Spore Crawlers because he doesn't realize what's going on.
Well, I mean, sure, he should now, right? Because
now he's
killing Overlords. What if he just makes some Mutas, though? Like, if he does, I'm going to be a little bit worried. You can play, like, the defensive Mutas where you sort of just sit with your queens and look for, like, a pick-off or two to slowly take an advantage. But look how far behind he is on, well, +1 attacks already. I mean, +1 Carapace is the better upgrade for Muta or Muta, but, I mean, if he gets Scarlett, doesn't actually know it's Mutas just yet, right? I mean, before she should have. She actually saw the Spire, so not going for the... Maybe she expects the Spire to be cancelled, because not going Carapace doesn't make sense in Muta versus Muta, because Carapace is just so much better.
Yeah. Well, PandaBearMe, he's going to lose some of these Overlords and actually get pretty badly supply blocked right now. But he's got the Spore Crawlers up. He's got to deal with these Lings running over to his main base, picking off his Queens, shutting down some of that Larva production. He's even going to be losing the Banelings.
The Muta's taking a lot of hits here as well. PandaBearMe lost a couple of those. Scarlett just taking advantage of units running out of position. And this was 8 where it gets killed. And just look at how much Scarlett has right now. She runs Lings in towards the third base as well.
This is actually starting to turn into a bit of domination. PandaBearMe is really struggling to deal with this aggression from Scarlett, who is attacking on like 3 fronts and winning all 3 fights.
Even the small number of Lings here, Mutas overhead, are still picking off Lings of PandaBearMe, and Scarlett just continues to amplify her lead in this game. I mean, obviously from here, the Muta count just becomes uncontrollable. She's on already 21 to 14, and that's only rising up. And obviously, having denied mine on the third base is already something which goes a long way to helping her out. Further, we're going to see, even if Muta on Muta fight, it's a +1 flyer attack against no +1 flyer attack. And it's extra Mutas versus no Mutas, less Mutas. GG, and Scarlett will take it 2 games to 1.